They may have stumbled upon the true beginnings of Britain's most iconic landmark. This is the tale of the vanished circle of Stonehenge. Stonehenge has forever stood as one of the greatest enigmas in human history. Rising from the windswept plains of Salisbury, its towering stones throw long shadows that have stirred human imagination for millennia. Older than Egypt's pyramids, built by people with no wheels, no iron, and no draft animals, Stonehenge seems as though it should never have existed. And yet, it endures, silent, immovable, and challenging us to unravel its mysteries. For centuries, debates raged over who constructed it, why it was built, and from where the colossal stones were brought. In the absence of clear answers, legends filled the void. Some claimed it was raised by giants. Others swore Merlin the sorcerer had conjured it. Still others believed it was a divine temple, a cosmic instrument for mapping the heavens, or even a doorway to realms beyond our own. Each idea was more astonishing than the last. And still, the question of where Stonehenge's mighty stones originated remained unsolved, one of archaeology's greatest riddles. Generation after generation, every attempt to crack the mystery fell short. The monument loomed like a mute guardian of prehistory, rejecting all explanations. Yet after countless dead ends, a team finally deciphered the code of Stonehenge. What they uncovered was not only surprising, it was deeply unsettling. From afar, it seems nothing more than a circle of scattered rocks. But appearances are deceiving. Stonehenge is no random collection of boulders. It is a masterfully engineered design. Its stones are locked in place as part of an immense hidden geometry, perfectly aligned with the heavens, to the rising sun of the summer solstice and the sinking light of the winter solstice. This alignment proves its builders were not only strong, but also astonishingly knowledgeable, with an advanced grasp of the skies. Yet the greatest mystery of all lies within the stones themselves. Across centuries, they became more than just objects of study. They grew into a place where reality itself seemed unstable. Visitors described peculiar sensations inside the ring. Sudden pressure in the head, as though the air thickened. Compasses spun wildly, their needles thrown off by some unseen power. Birds swerved and refused to fly directly overhead, falling silent as they neared the circle. Animals stopped at its edges, pawing nervously at the earth, their wide eyes betraying fear of something imperceptible to humans. Some claimed to hear a low hum at dawn and dusk, a vibration too deep for mere wind or insects, as though pulsing from beneath the ground. Others swore the stones faintly glowed on certain nights, catching starlight in impossible ways. Tales spread of shadows cast by nothing living, of chills in the warmest evenings, of watches and devices malfunctioning, as though the place itself resisted measurement. Whether true or imagined, these stories created a sense that Stonehenge was not just built, but chosen. Its stones seemed alive with a resonance beyond time. And the more deeply one looked, the less it felt like a monument and the more it resembled a threshold, a boundary where the ordinary world thins and something ancient might still wait unseen. The first great clue came with the smaller bluestones. They were traced to the Preseli Hills in Wales, over 140 miles away. This was astonishing, for it proved that Neolithic builders somehow hauled multi-ton stones across rivers, valleys, and forests without wheels or beasts of burden. But as remarkable as the bluestones were, they were not the central mystery. That honor belonged to the massive Sarsen stones, the true giants of Stonehenge. These enormous sandstone blocks, each weighing between 20 and 30 tons, form the great circle and inner horseshoe that define the monument's silhouette today. Their size, consistency, and durability make them the backbone of Stonehenge. And yet, for hundreds of years, no one knew where they had come from. Some scholars believed they were gathered locally, dragged across Salisbury Plain. Others argued their hardness suggested origins further afield, perhaps the Marlborough Downs, some 20 miles north. Theories multiplied endlessly. Some claimed the stones had fallen from the sky. Medieval writers said Merlin's sorcery carried them. Later legends spoke of giants marching them across the land. And some whispered they had never been moved at all, that they had always stood in that very place, remnants of a world long forgotten. Were the stones the remnants of forgotten upheavals, or gifts from powers beyond this world? Without evidence, every explanation was incomplete. Each attempt to answer only deepened the riddle. This type of tough sandstone is scattered throughout southern England, often appearing as solitary boulders lying in open fields. These blocks were not leftovers from an ancient rock layer eroded away, but rather naturally dispersed across the landscape. That wide distribution meant the Sarsens of Stonehenge could, in theory, have come from many different sources. Yet that very variety made it nearly impossible to identify their true origin. Without samples for testing, there was no way to trace them. And so, the puzzle endured, handed down from one generation of researchers to the next. Then came the first real breakthrough. Not from excavation, aerial surveys, or advanced equipment, but from something far more unexpected. A missing piece of Stonehenge that had quietly crossed the Atlantic. In 1958, during restoration work on one of the great upright stones, workers drilled into stone 58 to reinforce it with metal rods. One technician, Robert Phillips, was permitted to keep a cylindrical core of stone removed during the process. Roughly the length of a walking stick, it seemed trivial compared to the monument from which it was taken. Phillips later emigrated to the United States, carrying the core with him. For over 60 years, it traveled with him from office to office, tucked away in drawers or propped against bookshelves. A silent relic overlooked while experts argued about the monument's mysteries. Nearly everyone forgot about it, but it remained like a key left in plain sight while generations searched desperately for the locket fit. In 2018, just before his 90th birthday, Phillips chose to return the core to English heritage. For archaeologists, it was like opening a sealed time capsule from the Neolithic age. For the first time, they had a pristine fragment of Stonehenge's Sarsen, untouched by millennia of weathering and perfectly suited for modern analysis. With it, researchers could now map the stone's chemical signature in stunning detail. By 2025, new technology, AI-assisted X-ray fluorescence and ultrasensitive mass spectrometry, gave scientists the ability to finally solve a mystery that had haunted archaeology for centuries. By measuring each stone's precise chemical composition, silicon, aluminum, iron, and dozens of trace elements, they created a unique elemental fingerprint of the monument. At the same time, non-invasive scanners mapped the internal structure of the standing stones, producing a record so complete it was like peeling back the layers of time itself. The findings were extraordinary. Nearly every Sarsen, 50 of the 52, matched each other exactly. They had not been gathered from scattered boulders across the land, but quarried from a single, deliberate source. At last, after endless speculation, the origin of Stonehenge's giants could be traced. They came from West Woods, a vast, ancient forest on the southern edge of the Marlborough Downs, just 15 miles north of the monument. But this revelation raised new and troubling questions. How did Neolithic builders transport stones weighing 20 to 30 tons across 15 miles of rugged landscape? Even with modern machinery, it would be an enormous undertaking. 4,000 years ago, with no wheels or paved roads, the task seems almost impossible. Archaeologists suggest wooden sledges dragged over greased tracks, logs used as rollers, or perhaps part of the journey completed by river. But none of these explanations fully resolve the mystery. Each stone would have required immense coordination, hundreds of workers, precise timing, and a sophisticated understanding of leverage and mechanics. Knowledge we rarely attribute to societies of that age. And yet, one question looms larger still. Why West Woods? There were closer sources of Sarsen available. Why pass them by and compel vast groups of people to move such titanic blocks across the countryside? Was it symbolic? Ritualistic? Or perhaps something far more unsettling? Whatever the reason, the truth remains hidden, like a shadow on the edge of Stonehenge's long-kept secrets. So, what do you believe lies behind the mystery of Stonehenge? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because the next chapter of this enigma may prove even more astonishing.